In the data tab, we have the records, which represent the seed data for this. Whatever your data is, I assume that it's some sort of monetary amount. You'll need a date, obviously, that represents the record. You may or may not have an identifier. I have one, but it's not relevant to this particular demonstration. And over here we have the inferred entity that we want to create. We want to create a quarter. And in this case, the quarter will have a start date and will also have an end date, which we'll calculate from the start date, obviously, if it's a quarter. And we want to total up stuff by quarter. And what do we want to total up? We want to total up the records. So there is a relationship between the quarter and the records so that we're able to sum only the records in the quarter. And to do that, we're going to use a loop, first of all, to create the periods. And then we're going to use a simple instance sum to create the total. So the initial part here is really just an example, and it's not a very sensible example. It's basically, you're going to have to do whatever you need to do to find out the starting date and the latest date for your succession of quarters. In my case, all I've said is go look at the records, find the earliest date, find the latest date, and set the start of the quarters to be the earliest date rounded to the first of that month. So if the first record is the 3rd of January, then we'll start our quarter from the 1st of January. You do whatever you need to do. Then comes the really important part, is the loop, which creates the quarters, starting with the first quarter at the earliest date. So that's a relationship between global and the quarter. And then the next quarter is a relationship between quarter and quarter. So it's an auto-referencing, a self-referential relationship that says, okay, add on 3 months and keep going until we reach the latest date in the list of dates. For each of the quarters, set the end date to be 3 months minus 1 day. So I've done it so that the quarter ends on the 30th of June and the next quarter starts on the 1st of July. But again, you do whatever you have to do. And finally, then we use isMemberOf to assign the records to a particular quarter. And all we do is compare the date of the record and say, which quarter does this record belong to? Once we've done that, we can use instance sum to sum up the records in the quarter using the record amount. And once we've done that, we can simply display that in a PDF document, or rather this is an RTF, but you get the idea. And in that RTF file, we're going to do a simple loop and loop over each of the quarters. And in my case, I'm going to show the start date, the end date, and the total. Again, whatever other attributes you happen to have, you can display. You can put it in a form, you can put it in a table. It doesn't matter. But the point is now you have an entity that you can loop over and show the instances of the entity to create the effect you're after. So we'll debug this, go full screen. And we'll reset everything. And I'm going to add 3 records. Again, I added an identifier because I just wanted to have something to remind me what I was doing. So let's say that we have the first record on the 3rd of March. That's 100. Second record on 5th of April, 150. Next record in 7th of June. Let's have 100. And let's do record number 4. We'll do on November the 8th, 125. So there are our rows. Now we can see the data organized by quarter. So this is the inferred entity with its quarter start and quarter end and its totals by quarter. And if we look in the data tab, we can see the records are there and the quarters are there with their start date and their total. And then of course we can say to the user, okay, go and get your PDF file. And the PDF file, with a bit of luck, will simply summarize the same data. And of course you can present it in any which way that you want, but that's the raw data that you've got to work with. Hope this helps. The zip file should be attached to the post in the forum. If the zip file isn't attached, just reach out to me and I'll send it to you.